Yo, what's up gamers? It's here! It's almost here! Geometry Dash 2.2! It's been 3 years, but Rob's finally gonna deliver it for us. I'm so sure, I'm even betting my entire channel's future on it. I mean, come on, it's gotta be done by now. It's been 3 years. Come on, baby, come on, baby!
Geometry Dash. You may know it as the game your math teacher installed on the school iPads, but I know it as the game responsible for this. The game's been played by millions of people and has managed to foster a community consisting of femboys, Nazis, and Spanish kids, the last one being the most familiar to me. Most of the game's growth happened in 2.0 and 2.1, which were released in 2015 and 2017 respectively. The free version of the game as well as the spin-offs have been downloaded over 100 million times. GD is a huge game and it continues to get bigger every year. The game is driven solely by user content, because it's not the developer that's doing anything. So as we all know, updates help drive game sales and create a larger player base. For the developer RobTop, it seems like a no-brainer to continue supporting the game. Because after all, he's made tens of millions of dollars from the game in just game sales alone, and that's not even considering all the ad revenue he gets, which I would imagine is a lot more than that. This game is a mobile money-making machine, which is why Update 2.2 was released in 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023? It has been over 6 years since the last major update to the game. And to explain how bad that is, look at this graph! As you can see, the majority of the game's life has been spent in 2.1 limbo. But don't worry, we have been assured countless times that 2.2 is in fact coming soon. So with a development time of over 6 years, let's see how the update's been progressing. The first taste we got of 2.2 was in the spin-off game Subzero. The game was a collection of 3 levels featuring nothing related to being below 0 degrees Celsius. These levels showcased new blocks, the reverse trigger, and the zoom trigger, just to name a few. Similar to the previous update, it was heavily implied that 2.2 wasn't far away, because the spin-off game had been released just before 2.1's release date too. Of course, hindsight being 2023. Just over a year later, RobTop gave us some more news about 2.2. RobTop was working on an extremely detailed particle system, in which basically every variable of particle generation could be controlled. You could even change the shape of the particle. Now personally I would have loved to see how the game would have handled an extreme demon particle, but I guess we weren't ready for that yet. It's also worth pointing out that Rob has 1000 FPS, so that's neat. He also announced platformer mode, which would basically be a new game mode that would allow the player to freely roam around the map, which by the way is what levels are actually called, in case you didn't know. Sure, it was taking a while for the update to come out, but it looked promising. Rob was already showing off a bunch of new features in the game that would completely change everything. Then a few months after that, he showed off another new editor feature, which would allow you to freely transform and skew blocks. Additionally, he also showed off the scale trigger, which would resize blocks whenever you wanted to in-game. So we have a very promising update coming out, is what I would say if I were a liar. News became pretty scarce for the rest of the year, and then in early 2020 we got a look at the auto build system, which would automatically decorate blocks based on templates you created. This is honestly one of the coolest features in the update, because it would drastically reduce the amount of time needed to create a level, which would be great for people like me who can't focus on one thing and need to watch Family Guy Funny Moments number 71 every 5 minutes. Then from that point forward, it was pretty much complete radio silence. He showed off some new blocks on Twitter occasionally, but no major announcements, and definitely no release date. And so players were left to wait for literally anything to happen. Thankfully, the community had enough extra chromosomes to survive the long drought. This next section covers some dark and disturbing content, and we'll be making a ton of fucked up jokes along the way. So if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, skip to the timestamp on screen now. So, now that it's just you and me. Tonight, Bo breathes. Crazen owns it, baby. And a man speedruns Cork Island. Oh my god! There have been a lot of dramas during this time in the GD community. Name a top player? Hacker. Name another top player? Pedophile. Sometimes you can even find a 2-in-1. There are just too many things that happened in the community during this time for me to go through all of them, so I'll only be going through the biggest. Crazen was a GD YouTuber most known for verifying Wasseretta, the hardest demon of people who look like this. He was one of the most popular channels at the time, and was even considered one of the best players. However, he wasn't content with just money and fame. He needed something else. That something else being underage boys. Basically what happened is that Crazen groomed a couple of fans back in 2019 and 2020. All of these fans being about 13 years old at the time. And so because we basically had a high school senior picking up 8th graders, the community didn't really like that. Like the majority of pedophiles these days, he did all his dirty work through Discord. He would get his victims to roleplay with him, which already sounds pretty depressing on its own. And reading through some of these chat logs, I wanna breed you. Please. Would you watch me jerk off and call with my thigh highs on? Yeah, I got nothing. They speak for themselves. And like the gentleman he was, he kindly sent over pictures of his cock. Now, as someone who's seen those pictures secondhand back when it happened, I gotta say, it's fucking tiny. He manipulated his victims into staying quiet for a while, until one of them accidentally let it slip. In a classic case of Stockholm Syndrome, they came up with a lie to try to cover it up. However, the damage had been done by this point. After the story got leaked, Crazen tried to play the victim. He ran around saying that his life was ruined. He tried the whole "I didn't know she was an 18" thing, and even threatened to kill himself, which unfortunately he didn't do. And so just like that, Crazen's career was gone. All his big bucks from streaming erased. All his videos were privated, and he would never come back to the community. Until he did. Just over half a year after being exposed, he made a community post saying he was coming back to the game. And for obvious reasons, people weren't okay with it. This was basically like when EDP tried to make a comeback. Or, I guess, comebacks in his case. The drama never really left the community, so there wasn't really any action on YouTube's end. At no point did Crazen ever apologize or feel bad for his actions, and honestly he doesn't need to give an apology, because his actions are unforgivable. He irreversibly traumatized children, all for his own sick enjoyment. People like him don't deserve nice things in life, they deserve to rot in hell. He was kicked out of this community, and he'll never be welcomed back. The only place he would ever be welcomed is the fires of hell, where he can burn for all of eternity. In the words of Riot, goodbye Crazen. Literally nobody will miss you. Now to quickly cover some of the other major events at the time, the challenge level VSC was hacked by its verifier Bo. After a mental breakdown, that is. Basically, he just made a really convincing no-clip run and then uploaded the level. After all that happened, he basically left the community for a while, but it was eventually beaten by someone else, and now everyone and their grandma's beaten it. Kinos was verified, and we got this incredible reaction. Yeah, that's it. It became a pretty big meme for a while, even outside the community. Without Nempesta, the Google Earth speedrunning community wouldn't be where it is today. And then a bunch of low-effort reshade videos came out, and this basically became the meta for GD videos for a while. Then, as you could probably expect, there was a bunch of Twitter drama, but I won't be covering it mostly because it's boring, and I honestly don't care. To say the community was incredibly toxic and chaotic at the time would be an understatement. If you were around in the community, you know what it was like, but if you need a refresher, go watch Norkborg's video. It's an hour long, and only covers up to 2021, but it should give you the idea. But I also want to point out that this video was made on the presumption that 2.2 is right around the corner, and so, how's the update progressing? Thankfully, the players had enough patience to survive until August 14th, 2021, in which we got the first sneak peek. The trailer showed off some new blocks, colorblind portals mode, which would put indicators on portals to help those with colorblindness. We were also shown a trigger that would apply a color filter to the level. The new game mode that was announced years ago was now finally being shown off, and it's basically just a curvy wave. We also got shown a new death effect, as well as a platformer mode level, which we don't really know much about. Then once again we went into another content drought. It wouldn't be until a year later that we got shown the keyframe system for animations. Basically, you can use keyframes to make animating a lot simpler. This is a pretty powerful feature that'll definitely lead to some cool levels. Then for the first time in years, we wouldn't have to wait a long time to get some more update news. Sneak Peek 2! We got shown off a new level, some vertical travel, custom camera travel, as well as a floating tower with some doors, as well as some emo guy in the corner. And that's pretty much where we are as far as news goes. The last couple of months have been pretty slow, but we have been continuously reassured that 2.2 is coming out soon. So it could only be a few months away, or it could be several years away still. But don't think Rob's just been sitting on his ass all day gambling in Counter-Strike, because he's still working on the update. Just recently he showed off the replay system, which allows you to replay your most recent attempt in a level. And of course some of the various other stuff he's been posting to Twitter, which personally I don't have the patience to go around and find, so I've pretty much just been covering the stuff he's posted to YouTube. To date, Rob still hasn't delivered an estimated time in which 2.2 will be done. He's still adding new features to the update even after all these years, instead of, getting the update done. So we're still pretty much left in the dark. But if there's one thing that hasn't changed in all these years, it's the community. And that's not a good thing. GuitarHeroStyles is the biggest Geometry Dash channel on YouTube. You might know him as the Spanish guy who soy jacks in every thumbnail. With an army of over 1 million Spanish kids at his side, he has a huge amount of influence in the community. And just like every other gaming channel with a large following of mostly kids, Guitar has found himself attracted to women who are far too young for him. In this case, one of the few women who play Geometry Dash. And just like Crazen, he looks completely pathetic. I was sleeping, bitch. You bitch. Go to sleep, you bitch. Of course, bitch. Go sleep, you fat bitch. You are a bitch. That doesn't count. Go to sleep, sleepy bitch. What's up, cute? Hey, cute, how's it going? Good night, cute. What's up, cute? What's up, Lunia furry cat girl bitch cute? I'm sorry I missed you, cute. You are more cute than before. I'm always awake for my cute. Cute, 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 cute. You cute. Cute, cute, cute. Cute, cute. I can call you cute without going to jail now. Your voice says a lot. Trust me. It's like, give this person a hug right now? Did I say A? I said 100! And with a riz like that, can you believe she said no? Well, I guess maybe it had to do with the fact that they were underage. Guitar was doing this to several women in the community, including this 14-year-old girl, who he thinks is super cute. You know, like, ah! Now I won't be naming any names, because being preyed on by a 24-year-old man isn't exactly something to be proud of, and because most of them remained anonymous. He would emotionally abuse his victims, often blaming his problems on them, making them feel uncomfortable, and pressuring them to remain friends with him. When all of this went public, it very quickly became the largest drama in GD history. Obviously, Guitar had a lot of explaining to do. He then made a community post with probably the worst YouTuber apology I've ever seen. Here's the translated version of it. After everything that has been made public about me, I want to clarify some points. First of all, I want to stress right off the bat that at no time have I ever had sex with minors. Which this I can actually believe, because this is probably some of the worst pickup artist material I've ever seen. Next, to say that at no time have I ever mistreated or abused anyone, which we know is a lie, because if that were true, we wouldn't be in this situation to begin with. I don't know, there's something weird about obsessing over someone 10 years younger than you are. Finally, I feel deeply hurt for everything, and it is true that I have flirted with some people. I condemn this behavior I have had, and it will not happen again. Nevertheless, I need to think about everything, and therefore, I decided I'm going to give myself some time off from social networks in general, until I feel better. In other words, he's just making the standard YouTuber apology video. Now, if you've watched videos of predators being caught before, you know that basically every time, they say that this is the last time they're doing it. They say that they feel sorry, and that they'll never do it again. This is basically what he's doing here. He finally got caught after years of doing this stuff, and only now does he feel bad about it and regret it. Obviously, he doesn't actually feel bad for what he did. He only feels bad that he got caught. And to this day, he continues to upload like nothing happened, because unfortunately the Spanish kids who watch him don't care about this kind of stuff. I mean, why would they? They're like 8 at the oldest. He's even managed to get a girlfriend. The best we can do here is just hope that he really has changed and she isn't being abused. But given his track record, I'm not too confident. By the time all of this happened, I already quit the game, so I don't really know a lot of the drama that happened during this time. So we'll just leave it at a bunch more pointless Twitter drama, so that way I have an excuse not to care about it. Alright, future Spectra here. This next drama literally happened the day I planned to post this video, but it was big enough that I just had to add it. SpaceUK was one of the top players in the game. He was known for either verifying or being the first victor of several of the hardest levels in the game. Recently, he stunned the community after making the very brave decision to come out of the closet loud and proud as a fraud. He used a bot to record macros to play the level for him, and then just recorded clicks on top of the gameplay. Almost all of his completions were found to be botted by a feature of his bot, which resizes the level complete text after you beat the level. Now, that doesn't explain how he was able to do this for 2 years without being caught, but I guess the Demon's List mods didn't even notice that his golden completion was no-clipped. So, I guess we have our answer. The situation is pretty big, because how many times has the top player's career been exposed to be nothing but lies? This man had a ton of power and influence over the community, and turns out all of it was ill-gotten. Since his initial tweet, he's deleted his channel. Seeing as he made a bunch of money from YouTube, he promised to give money to the players who actually beat the levels he claimed to be the first victor of. One of these players being Doggy, who is technically now the verifier of Slaughterhouse. He actually made a pretty good video on this, and I'd highly recommend it. If you want to watch it, just type into YouTube, Doggy Slaughterhouse. He was also the first victor of Acheron, but who cares? Through all of this, Space has reminded us of an important life lesson. Never trust the British. So now that I've completely ruined the flow of this video to capitalize off current trends, let's just move on like nothing happened. But just because I talked about 2 pedophiles that took advantage of underage people for their own personal gain, don't think that the community is full of awful people. For example, we have the Free Riot movement, which helped restore Riot's channel after it was deleted a few years ago. Mods have also advanced to the point where they're basically a requirement. Pretty much everyone's using Mega Hack V7 at this point. In basically every area of the game, you have to be using mods at this point. Otherwise, you're at a significant disadvantage. Then there's also a bunch of other types of mods. Mods like GD Share have basically become standard at this point. Either you use them, or you get bullied. But probably the best thing to come out of the community have been the contests. There have been several different contests which allow the player base to contribute directly to 2.2's development. Obviously it's just RobTop trying to get other people to do the work for him, but I must say it's been quite effective at helping the game stay alive. So far there have been 2 creator contests held to get levels added in the new gauntlets coming out. Today I'll be talking about the icon contest, because these are the icons that are being added in the next update, and because I'm a bit biased. The idea was simple: have the community make the icons they want to see in the update. Now personally I planned to enter the contest, but I was too busy doing other things. The eventual winners range from being really good to really bad. But even in this shining example of the community banding together to make the update come out just that much faster, there was still drama to be had. X Creator Goal. Also known as the professional 2.2 clickbaiter, X Creator Goal 2 entered the contest and won with this fall? But what if I told you that wasn't even his work, but instead it was stolen? Now I know what you may be thinking. Icons have literally never been stolen before, and that no one would do such a thing as to steal someone else's work in order to achieve fame in a game about squares jumping. But unfortunately, it's true. He stole the art used to make the icon, then entered it into the contest. It was only really exposed after winning, but when RobTop found out, his icons were removed, and X Creator Goal was left to be embarrassed. Now on a somewhat unrelated note, take a look at this spider. His name is Maurice, and I love him. Now, take a look at this. Now to the average, uneducated and uncultured swine, this doesn't really mean anything to you. But to a certain subset of degenerates, this is the Messiah. FNM04 fans aren't factored into this equation. This is Nothing Dash, the greatest texture pack ever made. It has this icon, whatever this thing is, and a cult following. Eventually the group of apes called My Friends decided to make a sequel to it. The sequel centered around a new style of icons, which involves giving a paintbrush to Michael J. Fox and adding a colon closing parenthesis to the face. Of course, this was the funniest shit we've ever seen and decided to keep making more. And then the idea just kept spreading, until we got to this point. A Nothing Dash icon is now being added into the official game, and the creator of the icon didn't even know about Nothing Dash. Hell, he came up with the icons completely on his own, and it's just random chance they happen to be the same style. I am so proud of this community. And while we're on the topic of texture packs, RobTop announced a custom menu system in 2.3 or 2.4. That's hilarious. Will you be here all night? So, 2.2. What's taking so long? Well, it's simple. RobTop keeps adding new stuff to the game, and the game's continuing to grow in spite of the lack of support. I don't know if you've seen how long the list of new features is, but it's huge. I'll link a document with all the stuff being added to the update in the description, and it's long. Adding a lot of the features that have been announced so far isn't exactly something that you can do in an afternoon. Significantly expanding the capability of the level editor isn't easy, and I suspect that's what most of the development is being put into. because that's what's keeping the game alive. Now the real question is, why didn't Rob just release multiple updates? I mean, is he stupid? Consistent updates maintain and grow an active player base. That is, after all, how the game became popular in the first place. In the 6-year-long wait, there have been multiple generations of players coming and going. Many of those players would still be playing today if there was a constant stream of updates. The player base could be so much bigger than it is today, if not for the wait, and any additional spin-off games would continue to generate ad revenue for Rob, and encourage free players to buy the main game, to enjoy levels that aren't like 8 years old. Ultimately, the game is alive today thanks to the active community making new content. There's always new levels coming out, levels that are better and harder than the previous ones. The community has a lot to celebrate here. We're always getting new top players, a new hardest demon, or even the fact that we're now 100 days pedophile free. I wish that wasn't something we had to celebrate, but above all else, god damn it, I wish 2.2 was one of them. But hey, at least it's not as bad as the 10-year wait for RobTopGames.com. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It would really help out the channel. I know this video took a while to come out, and I'm sorry for that. Things in real life took priority. But since school's ending soon, expect a lot more uploads during the summer. And as always, thanks for watching.